Yeah, I have the same problem.
Okay, the Hangout on Air is now live, so for those kids watching at home, hopefully now they can actually see the live broadcast. I am, just for the record, and this is not an official sponsorship, but I am enjoying my coffee this morning in tea sheets. This is cup number 3.
Love your tea sheet mug.
Nice.
I like how big it is, too.
Thank you. I have a big mug and I have a big microphone.
Big mic.
And, and then today's show is sponsored by the letter M. Mugs and microphones.
Nice.
What about Mickey Mouse?
I have to think about how that would come together into a nice blog post. Mugs and microphones.
Friday mornings, that's what they're all about.
That's true. Mugs and
That is
microphones.
true.
And actually, mugs can be taken in more ways than one, because we got the coffee mugs and we've got all our mugs at the bottom of the screen here.
There you go. Sounding like a video.
I'm so clever with my words. And James says, and Mickey. But we don't have Mickey. We need a Mickey. We need Mickey Mouse. So, David, I finally got to play around with Jetpack a little bit yesterday. In fact, I don't know if you can
introduce David, Seth.
we'll get there. We're getting there. I'm getting to that. You know, we're very informal here.
I like it. It's very Friday morning.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the whole. That's why I chose Friday, and I chose 8 a.m. for very selfish reasons, so that I could get this done before my billable day starts at 9. But that was years ago when I actually had a billable day. Now I don't, so it's irrelevant. Which reminds me of a really bad joke. Do you know what you call an elephant who doesn't matter?
What's that?
Irrelevant.
Ah.
Yeah, that is bad.
That is really bad.
You'll have to work on your Friday morning jokes, Seth.
Stick to your day job, Seth.
That's a Friday
weekly. I need a weekly joke though for the hangout. I need to have at least one bad joke every, or maybe we can find some good jokes. But it's easier to find bad ones. Of course, you have to balance good jokes with making sure it's at least somewhat tasteful, right? I won't get into what we were discussing before we went live when it was just two of us.
Along the lines of big.
Mugs and microphones. So, David, we're going to introduce you officially in just a minute. Okay. But I don't assume you can actually go into like my account and see what I've done with it. You can. So I actually, just to play with it, I set up a little project for the very purpose of setting up today's hangout. But it was very cool. I was very impressed. I love the simplicity. I love the kind of workflow. It took me a minute to figure out that I have to create a job before I can create a task. And then I figured out, I guess you'll confirm, that the tasks go kind of inside of a job. So you've got to create a job first, then you've got tasks. And then I really like the fact that I can use it to calculate profitability on projects. So I'm going to obviously let you explain that to everybody, but I just wanted to kind of start off by saying that I got to play with it for the first time finally yesterday, and I really like what I saw so far. It looks like it's powerful yet simple, so I'm excited to see what you have to show us today.
Yeah, that's the goal, and I do apologize for, I know we were connected with last week, but we just did a major release this week around the job and task and everything else, so we can dive into that. But I'm happy you liked it, because it'd be a very awkward hangout if you didn't. And you introduced me.
I said, you know what, David? It's really a piece of garbage, but I'm going to let you show it to us.
Somebody out there just might like it. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
Well, and it's funny, have you guys seen, you probably haven't, because I haven't really put it out there yet, I just started to. I'm actually, in School of Bookkeeping, our 7th course, Course 7, is a course called, let me give you the actual official name rather than trying to make it up. It's called Practice Development, How to Start and Grow Your Practice and Run It From Anywhere. And I've got a mind map, which is available on the web, which I'll, of course, share the link with you guys on, where I'm really trying to organize all these different apps that we use for all these different purposes. I mean, for CRM alone, and I went and I did some research on this. I'm actually working on this stuff. I'm not just winging it. And so I did some research on the internet. I was like, what CRMs are there out there? I know I've heard of a ton of them, and off the top of my head I can list a bunch. But I know there's more. And I know it's probably endless. So I found like this Forbes article, which was very cleverly written to say, it was like written, I forget the actual name. Of course, the article's here. It's right in front of me. 11 terrible CRM systems for your company. So, of course, that gets your attention because you're like, oh, this is on Forbes, and they're saying these CRMs are terrible. Which ones are they calling out? So I click over, and it's all the CRMs that I'm familiar with. But if you read the article, he goes on to explain, and he's being ironic, of course, in the title, that they're all actually really good CRMs as far as the software itself, but it all comes down to the user and who's running the software, and are they using it properly and using it the way it's meant to be used, and are they using everything that can and should be used in order to make the software do what it was meant to do. So along these lines, I'm building. I have for CRMs, I have, and this is a funny one, and I did this on purpose. I know it'll get attention, but I actually do have a method here to my madness. But Evernote is on my list of CRMs, and I'm going to explain why, not today, but eventually. There's Highrise, there's Infusionsoft, Insightly, Method, NetSuite, Nimble, of course, which is my top choice, Sage CRM, Salesforce, SalesPad, Sugar CRM, and Zoho CRM. And I'm sure you can all probably add to that list, but that's just CRM alone. So project management and workflow management, no different. There's probably a dozen apps I can roll off the top of my head along these lines. But today we're going to look at one very specific one, and with that I am going to make a formal introduction. David, thank you very much for being with us today. I'm excited, as I said, to see somebody who knows the product take us a little deeper than I went on my own with it yesterday for the first time, and really see what this product has to offer, especially because my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this was really designed specifically for accountants and accounting practices?
That's the only people we're talking to, yep.
Okay, so take it away, David. Tell us a little bit about what you've got, why you've got it, what problem were you trying to solve that you felt wasn't solved already by the 10 million other project workflow applications out there, and the floor is yours to sell us. Sell me on Jetpack workflow.
Absolutely, and as I continue going forward, if there's an issue with the audio or with the video, just let me know. But
I'm just trying to figure out what those books are behind you. I want to see what you're reading.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was doing, Seth.
Well, if you wait until the end of the call, we'll go through it at the end.
Perfect.
Yeah, you know what?
By the way, this is a high ADHD group. I just want you to know. So, look out for squirrels.
I can move the screen and the computer, but then you're going to get some sunny window glare coming in at the screen, which is unusual for Pittsburgh, but we actually have that today.
Nice.
But we can get into the top books. Maybe I'll do a blog post on it as well. But essentially, we're a bunch of startup and software guys, and we wanted to build something for accounting professionals, and we weren't sure what. So we actually went out. We started emailing thousands of accounting professionals across North America, and we started asking them what's time-consuming, what's frustrating. We just wanted to learn about what's important to your firm, and what is time-consuming, what's annoying, and what makes you want to punch your computer, essentially. And we got just a whole flood of what I call a tidal wave of pain. And but the one that came up the most was something around checklist management and client management. And you're right, Seth. When I heard that, I thought, well, there's about 7 million tools out there that could probably solve this. So I'm sure somebody else is going to figure this out. And it got to the point where I went to a local firm here in Pittsburgh, and I said, okay, here's every CRM I know, and here's every project management tool, Trello, Basecamp, Asana, whatever it may be. Let's implement this in your firm. I'm going to record everything I do and then send it off to everybody I've talked to, and we can be done with this, and we can go build something that needs to be built. And long story short, we just kept going through each one, and each one had 2, 3, 5 features that just weren't accommodating to accounting professionals. The most obvious one would be, I can't see my client list. There's no client information attached to most project management tools. Or for a CRM tool, you can see your clients, but you can't add recurring projects. So that was the genesis for creating Jetpack Workflow. And so we're very focused on this industry. All the content we're creating, the podcast we just launched, Growing Your Firm Podcast, it's just for this industry. I can go ahead and paste the link if anybody is into podcasts. I mean, this is completely focused on just highlighting great people in the industry and what they're doing. But that was the genesis of the tool. And what I want to do is spend a couple minutes here and just show my screen, walk through it, dive in. I'll keep the questions tab open, and we can dive in if that sounds good, unless anybody has questions at the top of the call. I'm starting to read the chat comments. I'm getting distracted as it goes with these things.
See, squirrel.
Yeah, I'm the same way, guys. That's what's dangerous. But before we dive in, go ahead and let me know, what type of firm, business, practice, you currently have. Is it just you? Do you have a staff of 10? Is it what services do you focus on? And then we can sort of dive in and gauge, what we can focus on as we walk through the application. This is a 100% cloud-based application. We just, we're constantly refining, updating, making it better, simpler, faster to use. Having said that, Seth mentioned at the top of the call, he's already logged in, kicked it around a little bit. Okay, there we go. I'm just seeing content around the old Ebola stuff. so we'll dive in. Sometimes you just can't compete with current news, but I'm not gonna let you guys go until I figure out what everybody's working on. But I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen, and we'll dive in. So this will be the real test: is will the share screen work? And I'll go ahead and I'm gonna share my entire screen, so you're gonna see everything. Everything. You'll see the bookmarks. You'll see the Chrome extensions, and we can dive in.
All right, just hide the porn.
Very informal call, I guess. All right, guys, you let me know when you can see everything. We can
see it. Yep.
Okay. All right, perfect. Well, this is a straightforward dashboard we put together. If it's you plus your team members, what you can do is you can dive in, you can open up their file, see what they're working on, see which client it is for and when it is due. I can go ahead and collapse any team member there, and then what's recently been completed. A lot of the firm owners that are using Jetpack workflow, they look at something like the dashboard. It's just kind of their 10-second overview. Are there any fires I need to put out? Do I need to take a look at the calendar? You can also pull in your Google or Outlook events into this calendar, so if you have meetings coming up, you can see that here. But the dashboard, and you can click into any of the items here. If I open up a client or if I open up a team member and I say, well, what's going on here? I can click into that work and see exactly what's going on. See the client information, see who's working on it, and we'll dive into some of the details around profitability and time logs and document management. But everything on this screen is clickable. You can click into the calendar. You can open up anything that's been recently completed and see who it was done by and how long ago it was done.
Now, David, while you're there, one thing that pops into my head right away, especially because we're looking at this screen, and it's something we've discussed a lot in our ABO group, is the issue of I have 10 employees, let's say, and I'm assigning them all tasks. New jobs are hopefully coming in the door regularly. I'm trying to figure out who to assign it to. Is there like a resource management area that I can look at to see who's busy and who might have time to take on something?
Yeah, so you can open up the staff, and you can see just at a quick glance, what's overdue today, this week, and kind of what's been assigned to them. And then as I go into, if you open up the Jobs tab as well, which is really kind of the core of the application, and this is where you could start getting into, we have 7, 9 filters in here. You can open it up also by staff member and see everything across the board inside of here. So, to answer your question, you can see the immediate work, and then you can come into here and filter. You can look at everything due this month and see what they're working on, or you can see if somebody's calling off for a certain week, you can pull in a custom due date range into the application and pick those dates. But as far as a reporting capability, resource allocation, scheduling, we're working on what that report's going to look like. But most of the time, the staff tab or looking at it from the job tab perspective, a lot of firms utilize the resource management in that way. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah. Of course, the ultimate holy grail in terms of the answer to that question that I'm always looking for is, I want to know, I have a project coming in the door. The client calls me up to say, hey, you know what? I really need this done next Monday. I want to be able to look and see who's got time next Monday that I can assign this to. That's the ideal situation.
Okay. Well, here, I didn't want to bring this up today because this is what we're working on. But let's just jump the gun and go into it. So inside of setting up your team members, we're starting to do these what we call designated colors. Essentially you can just put a filter to a staff member. It's meaningless right now, but the reason we started putting that in there is because this calendar is going to be filterable by each team member is going to have a color, so you can see everything across the board, and then you can quickly assess on that calendar overlay who's doing what when, and if you need to filter in on 1 or 2 or 3, you certainly can.
And if I assign them the color red, it means I'm really mad at them.
Yeah, what's funny is these are the small things that the software people talk about. They say, well, what default color should we have? And so it's funny. We just made a wheel because certain people. I'm sure this won't surprise you. They'll say, well, I don't want this color. That's my absolute least favorite color. And so you can do whatever you want with these colors. If you want to, bright red, dark red. So, but yeah, that's set up in there now. And the reason we put that in there is because we're going to make the calendar have those filtering options inside of there.
Okay, David, it has something interesting, by the way, and this is where the ADHD comes in. We have 2 versions of your name, one with the S and one without.
2 versions of my name, one with the right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with demo accounts. So although I'm sure there is a Critello somewhere out there,
probably is,
and that's why I give them all the overdue tasks. But for me,
I think Tim had a legitimate question. I'll shut up now.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had I don't know. Maybe it's an illegitimate question. So my question is there a way to have like budgeted hours as well? Like this is what the budget is for a project, and
yeah,
that's one of our pain points we're trying to solve for, right, Holly?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and this is a perfect segue to dive into the app. Unless Seth asks any more questions, I think we'll.
I just want to know how to spell segue. Isn't it spelled segue?
So we'll go through it, and we'll actually add some work inside of the system, and then we can filter through it. I think Seth, when you set it up, there is the option to set up a quick ad, but we'll go through the setting up the work and what it looks like. I'm getting a little bit of background noise. I'm not sure if somebody's moving.
Can everybody mute if you're not talking? Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go in and add the first template, and I'll go ahead and call this the Google Hangout template, and we'll say...
So we're in jobs right now, right? Just in case somebody missed it. You're in the jobs area.
We're in the jobs, and the top button, Add Template, and I can go in and add that initial due date for next week. I can go in and add an extension, so if it needs to be a couple months down, I can. And when you add a due date extension, it's telling the system, listen, this is the immediate due date, but if this due date passes and this job is still not done, we'll roll it over, put it into the due date extension.
So that's like the drop dead date. I used to hate when people use that expression. What's the drop dead date on this?
I've never heard that, but that's one way to instill some fear if you want to use that. That's the drop dead date.
That's when I assign you the color red.
Yeah. Well, no, the system will turn it red.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you can actually go into here. What I did now is go into the repeat custom schedule. You can go into here and say, let's do this every 2 weeks on Wednesday. You can do it, every 6 weeks on Friday. If you want to go in and create something, maybe, every quarter, every 3 months on the 15th, or every 3 months on the last Friday, or every 3 months on the last day. I mean, you can go into here and get very specific on the type of recurrence that you want, and you can also put in yearly as well. So I'll go ahead and set something up because that's a Friday. I'll go ahead and say we'll set it up. We'll just set it up on a basic weekly one. I don't need.
So this could be like review my client's financial statements every month on the first Monday.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you put lists there? Can you put checklists there?
Absolutely. So this is, you're kind of setting up the initial foundation for it, and if you want to assign the default manager for it, and this is where you can go in and say, you know what, this Google Hangout, this should take no more than 3 hours, and don't worry guys, this won't take 3 hours, but I'll go ahead and put 3 hours and create job template, and this is where you can go in and start adding the tasks. So it'll say, find, or sometimes the first one a lot inside of the system is receive client information, get client information. I'll say find G plus link because that was an issue. And so I'll say, and then get on call. So this will be kind of, the standard template. Now, James is I put him as the manager. If he, somebody else usually kicks off the project, like Joe will send me the link, and I don't want him to do that today. I want him to do that, one day before. I can set that up inside of the template, and then what I can do is go in and duplicate this to other clients. I can attach documents here. I can, I can add a description or instructions. I can open up the task and add instructions or a description and documents as well. But let's say this template is finalized. This is the work you do across the board. Inside of every template and inside of every job, we have a duplicate button. So we can say duplicate to other clients, and this is where you select all the clients you do this for. And if you need to bring up one, I can bring up Jane and say, okay, we do that for these 4 clients. And if you accidentally select one, I say, oh, I don't actually, John, we don't actually do this job for him. It's for these 3 clients. So I can go into here and hit duplicate. It's going to take me back to that default job screen. And every time you create a template or a job, the system's going to tag it inside of the job page so that you can then filter by that. So if I need to bring up every project that's called Google Hangout, I can right here. And what's really nice about this screen, and this is what we just updated this week, is let's say there's 2 items you need to check off. I can do it all from this screen. Let's say these are the 2 items right here. If I need to add an additional task, I can. Or I actually have the option to say, you know what, this has already been completed. Let's go ahead and archive it, which goes into a searchable archive database in the system, or we can leave it for review so somebody can sign off on it.
Okay.
Now, you can also log time by hitting the plus sign over here. You can attach documents to the project. You can add a description. So you can really complete a lot of work inside of here. In terms of what it looks like, we also have a focus view inside of Jetpack workflow as well. So I can go in and we'll go ahead and hit, I can go into here, hit edit job. I can go ahead and let's go to the job here. I can bring up these profitability reports, as Seth was talking about earlier. And what this looks like is so James, we put him as an internal hourly amount, $100, and we said this should take 3 hours. And you can adjust that. If you need to adjust the time for whatever reason, I can click the blue link at the top and say, you know what, this one's going to take 3 hours, and maybe there's going to be some travel involved, so maybe we'll bump it up to $500. And so what happens is we have the profitability report here. When I go in, there's 2 ways to input time into here. I can do it from a master time log, which just measures it against the job, or I can open it up and start creating time and logging time into here. I can do it manually and just say, client call and enter, or I can just start the timer and let it run, and then when this is complete, go ahead and hit stop. And you can mark the task complete. The progress bar is going to fill up, inside of the system. Then
what can I do at that time? Once it's been logged, I know you said there's reporting, so I assume I can get reports on it, export to Excel, and have at it?
Yeah, so with the time right now, we have the profitability reports. What's next is a spreadsheet of a week-by-week or bi-weekly or monthly for your team, what hours they logged for which client for which job. So that's what's next. We're just catching up to the reporting. We've gotten so many requests for so many reports. That's what we're catching up to now.
Okay.
And so profitability, and I'm sorry if you said this and I missed it, because I'll admit I was distracted by a squirrel a minute ago. But so it's good. I can see where it can log, I guess, what it's going to cost me based on time being logged and what my employees cost me when they do the work. And then I guess I put in what I think I'm going to earn in terms of revenue on it for it to measure the profitability. How does it figure that out?
Yeah, so initially we look at, here's James, 3 hours, he's at 100. So we say, well, it shouldn't cross that. If you want to put, the additional buffer in there, you can put that additional amount. Right now it's going to measure against the total one, so it's going to stay green unless I surpass that $500. So if I open this up and I go ahead and log in I'll go ahead and log in, 10 hours into the system and say this isn't even done. I open this up and now see, we're at $1,100 we're billing for this project, and we didn't even want to get close to 500. So that's what this profitability report, that's what it's measuring, and that's how it's pulling. It's we have James's hours, and then we put in the additional amount, and then we have against it recognizes that even though James is the manager or Joe was assigned this task, I logged in, I completed the work, so it's measuring against my hourly rate.
So each individual employee in their own setup has an hourly rate. That's where they got the hourly rate from.
Correct.
Okay.
And then is this a timesheet that they're just logging in the 3 hours or however long it took, or is there actually a timesheet kind of a thing for them to log, or is that a future product?
Yeah. So all the time tracking is associated right now with the job. There's no kind of hovering time tracking tool associated with it now. Yeah, so does that answer your question? Every time log is
so they would enter in whatever hours or time or fraction of an hour they work on that specific task manually, is what you're saying. Okay.
Well, and it looks like you can run a timer, so you can
run. Yes, you can just hit start timer.
Right, and then is there a way that we use this information? Maybe we're jumping the gun on your presentation. How it logs into running a payroll or something like that?
Well, that's kind of what I was asking about the reporting, like whether or not that information could be exported or somehow integrated with something like, let's say, a T-Sheets or something that I can then use to run payroll and bill my clients.
Yeah, well, that's we're we're looking at integrations of QuickBooks, Bill.com, Harvest, T-Sheets, even Xero, but that would be, we're going to start looking at and building those out in November, December. So, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the jobs, and you can actually pull this up by the type of job. So if it's a specific return that you need to track inside of the system, and you want to pull up, well, I want to see everything that's in progress, and each one of these is a filtering option. So if you want to filter down to everything that's in progress, you can. If you want to filter down to everything in review, you can. If you want to filter down every tax return that maybe was assigned to you or assigned to any one of your staff members, each one of these is like a new layer of filtering that you can really dive in and kind of pick your custom view. One of the most common ones, so a couple common setups. I'll go ahead and we'll go back to the main screen here. But one of the most common ones is just having your own name as the default, and so that way every time you log in, you can set it up. So if I bring up David Costello, so I'll bring up everything that I'm associated with, and then I can bring up something like I want to see only things due this month, for example, and then I can go one step further and say everything due this month that is in review. Let me see if there's anything in review. So there's nothing in review, so maybe we'll say everything this month that what we call is pending, meaning nothing's been started on it. And so you can filter down as much as you want at this level. And again, I can look up everything for me due this month that's pending for, let's just say I got a call from Intuit, and they said, hey, and I can filter down as much as I want.
Got it. Is there also a way in the filter to, like, say you have a budget of 3 hours for that particular, is there like an alarm or alert that they've pressed up against that, or? And if not, that could be a good feature. That's one of the features we've been trying to look for in like T-Sheets when we've been logging over there, but it doesn't have, like what you're showing is awesome. This is great.
So yeah, but that's a good point. Can you set it to send me an email and remind me that I've got a task due today?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I will say that what we do have in the system now is if you go into the time log, the master time log, just from the screen, you can see the allocated time there. But we right now, and it's funny, we get so many questions around email notifications, and that one's a really interesting one. I see a lot of value in that. So we could put it into the system. Our email notifications right now is we go under settings, and this is where you can put the currency or time, but we have these two items right here. These are the most popular emails inside of the system right now. There's one called the Morning Digest email. You can set that up for any time you want. And what that shows you at whatever time, 7 a.m., it will tell you this is what's overdue and this is what's due today. And that's kind of like a newspaper of what's going on for your business, for your firm, for your client work. And then every evening you can get an email that says, this is what's been completed today, this is what's still overdue, and this is what's coming up for the week. So this is kind of the catch-all email. And again, you can set one on, you can set both on. You can receive emails when something goes into a review stage. So if you want to know every time something goes into review or extension or whatever it may be, you can set those up, and you can set up notifications about tasks and who's managing them as well.
And I assume it's fair to assume that the email comes hyperlinked, so I can click right into a task in response to getting that email.
You can click right into it will say click into the application. Right now, it won't pull straight into that specific job, but It will pull right into the application.
And it looks like you work with Google and Outlook. I'm seeing both those there.
Yeah, so we have right now what we call one-way sync. So we'll pull in your anything on your Google Calendar, events, conferences, whatever it may be, and pull those onto our calendar, Outlook onto our calendar. At this time, we don't push our information onto those. So if you open up your Google Calendar, you'll see all your events. If you open up Jetpack Workflow, you'll see all your events, meetings overlaid with our work. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Nice.
Mine would get messy. I have so much stuff on my
Well,
calendar.
I like it separate like that, actually.
Yeah.
And I like the notifications. You walk into the office in the morning, bam, there's your list of things to do. Hopefully at the end of the day, your list is less and not more.
Yeah, but it's nice to know that I can, well, for example, on another app that we've looked at, that I can program it to email me anytime something changes about a particular project or task. That I like having that flexibility because there are certain things that are that important. I want to know the minute somebody's gone in and clicked something and said, I just finished this.
Yeah, absolutely. I will also say that, there was a question you asked I think at the top of the call, which was, well, to add a task, I need to create a job first. Well, I want to show you that you actually, again, have the option to mark off work from this screen, and then you also have the ability to do a quick add. So if I have to do, a client check-in call, I can go in and I'm just going to set it up straight from the screen. So there's no, big setup.
But you're in the jobs area. See, what I did, and this is where I, frankly hit a little friction yesterday, was brand new clean account, nothing in there yet. I went to tasks and I thought, oh, how do I add a task? And there was no button that said add a task, because then I said, okay, well, I saw the navigation up there. I said, well, maybe I need to add a job first, and sure enough, so it has to all be done from the jobs area then.
Yeah, I'm really happy you brought that up. Probably if anybody signs up next week and you go into the task, there'll be a little pop-up that kind of addresses that. Because obviously you're not the only one, so I actually really appreciate that feedback. And
no, that's what we like to do. In fact, when we had QBox on here, the first time, see, we were nicer to you, actually, than we were to them. With them, we actually, without even inviting them, we went and looked at their app and ripped it apart. We didn't rip it apart. I mean, most of us, I think, loved it. But the point is, without getting their guidance or having the benefit of their guidance, we went in, and then I showed it to him, and I said, by the way, here's some feedback. You can see exactly where we ran into friction. And he actually, of course, Chris Wise, a great guy from QBox, he got back to me and said, I wish you would have had me in the Hangout so I could have helped. And I said, no, I think it's better this way. And I said, but now, yeah, let's have you come on and actually fill in the blanks that you saw that we kind of hit. But yeah, so that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, it's funny, last week, and that was a big update. We had an area to add these tasks, but we created this quick add right here because, if you need to, like I said, create that, whatever it may be, you can go into here, and let's say, at default it's assigned to the person creating it, but I can change it from here. Again, I can set up the client. If I need to add a task to it, if I need to add, a couple items to it, I can. So you can set up and complete a ton of work from this screen now. And if you want to have that completely focused view, you can click in and see that here, and this is where you can actually input what we have custom labels. So if I wanted to change this to, say, the Google Hangout job, I can go into here, I just double click, hit OK. It's now assigned to that one. I go back, and it's
Very cool.
it's another layer of filtering that you could put into here. And so some, high might be urgent, high priority. We've seen people set up really lightweight CRMs inside of the system, kind of using these labels or doing something called like a new lead, because you can set up a template called new lead inside of there, so we don't have any leads in the system now. And so you can set up a lightweight CRM doing so. We don't at all advertise ourselves as a CRM. We're focused on everything that happens, once the client's in the door. But you can certainly do that. And if I open up the clients tab, you'll see a list of the clients. I can go into here. We have an import clients feature where you can attach your spreadsheet of client names and it will import it into the system. Or what we offer anybody who gets set up is you can send us your spreadsheet of client names. We'll put it into your account as well. That's not a problem. But you can click import and then choose your spreadsheet. But if I were to set up a new client, every time I open up a client file right here, I have a note area, but then I also have this ability to assign templates. So if I'm setting up somebody new, I can come into here and say, okay, Google Hangout, we do this, and then we do this, and I can hit clone, and it's going to be immediately assigned to that client. So setting up a new client, or even existing clients, through the templates is, you can work just as well from this screen, and you can search by, if you need to bring up a certain client inside of here, you can open it up. You can see there's an area to add notes, and you can complete work from this screen if that's more comfortable for you, or if you're about to go into a meeting and you just want to see everything that's going on. You can bring it up, add notes, assign templates, and you can filter, if for whatever reason there's dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs for that client, you can filter it by, okay, before I go, I want to see if there's anything in review I need to take a look at, or, oh, we actually did this for them. Let's go ahead and archive that so I know that's clear and I can tell them about it.
Now, when I add staff, and this is really going to go into the question about like sort of how the account that you get with Jetpack Workflow really works. So I go and I sign on for an account with Jetpack Workflow, and I want to start adding staff. And some of those staff might be employees, some might be subcontractors. Is the pricing for Jetpack Workflow based on how many people I add, or do I just pay for the account? I can add as many people as I want. How does that work?
So the pricing is per user inside of the account. Now, we've gotten questions around, adding contractors or for rush season. I mean, you can upgrade, downgrade at any time. We have monthly plans, yearly plans. There's no long-term contracts or anything like that. Adding a staff member, you can go in, first name, last name, and their email. They'll be sent a confirmation email, and then you can set them up, however you want, as the roles. And this will determine not only to a degree what they see, but then also, can you assign them a job? So if you're going to assign somebody a full job, make them a manager. And this is probably the most common one for inside of Jetpack Workflows. They'll add somebody and they'll say, all right, this is a manager. I want them to be able to do everything, but I don't want them to delete anything. So we see that all the time.
So as soon as I add somebody and they confirm and set up their account, I'm now getting charged for that person.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, depending on, and I don't know if this will answer your specific situation, but we had a firm come on board and they said, well, you know what, we have interns. We have like 3 interns at a time, all the time, or we have 1 intern all the time. Will I be able to quickly update, from intern to intern, their work? And the answer is yes. Not only can you update that, the name under the staff tab, but if for whatever reason you need to update multiple work items at once, I can go in and click, I can filter by that team member, staff member, and then go ahead and click edit selected jobs, and I can mass update items as well. But it's a per user fee. Unless,
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a per user fee, but I'm just interested in hearing your scenario and seeing, if it's a contractor that works 1 hour a week for you, I don't want you to be restricted by paying something. I mean, this is something we obviously don't advertise publicly, but we're open to at least hearing the kind of work scenarios you have set up. And if you have an outside contractor, they work 30 minutes every other Tuesday. We don't want you paying for a full account. We could look at what could potentially go on, but it's a per user plan. I can bring up the pricing right here. So we have this is the monthly. So everything comes with a 14-day free trial. If for whatever reason 14 days doesn't feel adequate enough, I mean, we don't again publicly say this, but you can email me if you need 21 days, 30 days. That's not an issue either. The goal for us is to make sure you get a chance to get set up with Jetpack Workflow and make sure it's a good fit. So if you want to start out monthly and then switch to an annual plan. So essentially, when you prepay yearly, it moves down for $25 a month. It's a monthly plan. You bump it up to yearly. You pay $250 for the year, and if you break that into a month, it'd be $21 a month.
What if I need more than 10 users?
We can get you in 10, 20, 30 users. The sky's the limit. It's initially.
I just have to call you if it goes beyond what's laid out here.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're going to put in, initially when we launched, we were working with a lot of firms that were in this range, so we put it there. But I mean, we've been contacted and been working with firms that are certainly much larger than 10 users. So if you need 15, 20, we can look at that. That's not a big deal. That's the beauty about software is we can add 13, 15 users. It's not going to affect our infrastructure. In fact, we're set up for that.
Okay, and by the way, whoever can guess my next question out of the group is going to get a prize for practice management. Can anybody guess what my next question is going to be?
What is Ralphie eating for breakfast?
No, wrong. You don't get the prize, Tim.
Okay.
Anybody else want to try? All right.
Go ahead. How did the name Jetpack come about?
Oh boy. So I'm probably the worst person at naming products, and so this initially was called, I think it was called Checklist Pro or Checklist Pro Manager, which is not I don't know. Some people think it's terrible, some people like it, but it was very to the point, and so I started talking with a lot of people, and we were thinking through some of the visuals of the benefits, and we say, well, the goal of this tool is to regain transparency and have control and feel like you have a bird's eye view of your work, and because of this you can grow faster or scale in a more meaningful way or grow your business. I mean, early on we had a firm, this was before we had a name for it, but early on we had a firm that came on board, and this individual was ready to purchase to acquire another firm, and they were going to ramp up, they were going to double the size of their team. And he was really hitting a ceiling because he was trying to figure out how he's going to manage things going up. So we thought Jetpack, it shoots off into the air, it makes you soar. So that's kind of the visual we want, and we enjoy the name. So it's kind of, it's just one of those things where like, let's go with it, and we certainly liked it ever since then.
Nice. Seth, I'm sorry. The question you would ask, is it in regard to Evernote?
No. So my next question, of course, and really it's, of course, on the heels of pricing, is do we have an affiliate program?
Oh, great question. We actually had an affiliate program in there, and then with the update, we left it out. But we can set up an affiliate program, or if we could look at setting one up. We had one in there, and we were just growing at a rate, and it was kind of like we just did this big update. So there's no affiliate program in place. There's no. Well, would you want an affiliate program or referral? Because referral would be charged. It would essentially give you a free account. Affiliate would be a standalone, whether you use Jetpack Workflow or not. We've had referral programs, affiliate programs. That's much further down the road.
Right. Well, I always ask this question because the bottom line is I look at and ultimately wind up recommending a lot of products, and so it's the kind of thing where if I fall in love with a product and I know I'm going to be recommending it anyway, then I always ask, because as long as I know I'm going to be recommending it, and if the company offers, I might as well get paid something for recommending it on the side. It's not ever something I would try and make my primary stream of income, but it's always something I ask about. So.
Well, sorry. But in the near term, the referral program, absolutely. But in terms of affiliate, I'm not. We're not sure when that's gonna. Probably in 2015. But referral, yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, and how are you distinguishing affiliate from referral? I mean, to me, it's essentially the same thing. If I'm an affiliate, I'm recommending I have an affiliate link. People go through me. I get paid a commission for sending them based on what they sign up for, or how much money it's a commission. Whereas a referral, what would be the difference? I guess is what I'm now wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. The referral for us for the app, when you refer somebody in, it would be because you're using the application, and then they've come in through your link, so you'll get X off your account to the point where it would become essentially free. Affiliate would be almost like, regardless of if you're a Jetpack workflow user, you could take this link and promote it anywhere, and just get we'll just be sending you checks in the mail or depositing money via. So the referral is attached to the platform. Affiliate's kind of like this standalone thing. Like Amazon, I can recommend a book I've never read just to and then get 10 cents if somebody buys it. Whereas what we want to put in place is something like I guess more similar to Dropbox. Where like you have to have an account and then you refer people out.
Right. No, Trello has something like that, where if every time I add a person on Trello, I get a free month of Trello. So.
Oh, okay. That's where you might have seen where we got the inspiration for the custom labels. Then, inside
that's from Trello. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love Trello, but it's so now. Where's the Google Hangout one? So now I can filter by. I call it a Google Hangout. I can filter by everything that's been labeled as Google Hangout.
I love Trello, but what stopped me with Trello is I have to have a specific order that things happen in order for Trello to really work. And I'll give you the example where, a lot of what I do is producing content. So there's a few certain components, and they don't always happen in the same order, right? Because I'm going to write a post. First, I'm going to write an outline. I'm going to write a post. I'm going to record a video. I'm going to gather images to place them inside. And I found that in Trello, having to move my stacks around because I don't know which order I'm going to do things in. Sometimes the idea is so clear in my head, I'm going to record the video first and then I'm going to write the content. Other times I need to write the content first because that helps me get the ideas organized and then record the video. So that's where I got stopped on Trello, and that's where I love something like this because I can lay it out at exactly the way I want to do it that particular time. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you do have the ability. So when you duplicate out work, or you create a job from a template, I mean, I can go into here and I can actually, if you need to switch these, you can, and if you need to add one, I mean, you certainly can add one from a template. And if I need to go in and rearrange it, if this comes after this, or this comes before that, or this is based on, you can go in and rearrange these tasks.
And just for fun and because it's important, can you add call mom into the task list there?
Yeah.
I want to see a checklist added. Do you have checklists? Like, frequently I'll have lists of things I need to do that are the same, no matter what, like for bookkeeping.
For each client, you mean? Like you can
duplicate.
Like,
let me take a stab at this to see if I'm really understanding how this works now. So, David, correct me if I'm wrong in answering Gina's question. It sounds to me like I would create a job based on that list of tasks that applies to all bookkeeping clients. Within that, I would create the tasks. That becomes the checklist, and then I can assign that to clients as I need to.
Yep. That's the only thing I would add to that. But that's exactly right. So that your checklist would essentially be, the tasks inside of here. And that's why you can use this. It's kind of flexible enough where you can come in and use this as a sequential, task order. Or if this is just a checklist, you need to make sure and you say, oh, you know what? This is done. I'm good to go. That's why you can mark off work at this level. So you can check things off. So if you need to take a look at your checklist, we call them tasks, but these can just be items that you need to make sure get done. You can check them off, or you can check them off here. But the only thing I would add is if this is, if you have X number of bookkeeping clients, you do this over and over again, I would make that a template and then duplicate it out. Kind of like we did at the top of the call, only because when, if I go in, I'll go into my client page, and let's say, you had a great meeting today, the client's on board. I can go in, add the client. We'll just say it's, Friday Inc. Now, I won't be surprised if I already created a Friday ink, so I'll put a 1, 2, 3. When I'm doing demos, I'm the most, I don't have any creativity, so I have like the same 3 example clients. Okay, looks like it's okay. And so I can go in and assign that template. So if you have a bookkeeping template, you say, oh, you know what? We do that for them. I'll go in and code. Maybe you do bookkeeping plus 1 or 2 other things, and I can go into here and actually, set that up for them. So, Seth is right. The only adjustment I would make is the first thing I would do is create a template.
Got it.
All right, this is my victory pose.
It's a shame Sarah missed this today. I think
she'll get to watch the recording.
Pardon?
She'll get to watch the recording.
Yeah, but I think she'd appreciate the calendar look, the overview. I think that's what she was missing from the other CRMs that she was looking for.
Yeah.
Well, if she ever wants to, we're always excited to jump on a call or a webinar or whatever. I mean, if she has, any questions, she can email me, david@jetpackworkflow.com, or if she signs up, we have a chat box down here. But we can. We don't have any issue. We enjoy. This is the best part of our days is jumping on calls like this. So we look forward to them.
Gotcha. I'm going to go into the chat and I'm going to request to speak with you specifically every time, David.
I accept the challenge. I accept the challenge. I will do it. You're going to get sick of my voice.
Never.
Just wait until, for people that, we launched this podcast and I'm interviewing all kinds of people, and then on our site, I'm kind of the voice of the videos, and then on the support, I'm the voice of the videos, and then we're going to be launching a course, I'm going to be the voice of the, I'm afraid, people are just going to get, we're going to have to get like an old British lady pretty soon just for good contrast.
There you go.
Yeah.
Be the voice.
I was actually surprised I didn't find any videos on YouTube for you guys.
Yeah, that's because we've unlisted most of them because we just did this massive update. So this tab used to be called something different, and that's why I'm like, I don't want, it would be so confusing to have 50 videos out there, and like 10 of them are for the new product and 40 are for the old design.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
But yeah, we'll be there soon enough. I mean, we have them all unlisted. You'll see if you ask a support question, and I'm not daring you to ask a support question, but you'll get a YouTube video, but it'll be unlisted.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Because
Well,
I'll
Seth,
probably.
you're the first then.
What's that?
You're the first for the new design.
And James has a good comment there in the chat. He says they need to hire me, the YouTube ProAdvisor. I like that name actually, the YouTube ProAdvisor. I should grab that. Thanks, James.
Yeah. Well, no, Seth. I mean, our current. People currently using Jetpack, of course, got to see the view, but Seth was, we released it, it looked good, and then, we set Seth up, because we were going to get him set up last weekend, but I said, let's wait, so that's why it ended up being midweek. I think we did the release Monday or Tuesday, and then we got him set up Wednesday, so.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, and then I looked at it yesterday for the first time, but I like it. I like it a lot. And then, just so you know, David, my one of my colleagues who I do a lot of collaboration with on clients, he does a lot of bookkeeping for me. He pinged me in my Google chat just now, saying he likes Jetpack, just signed up last night, and he said that he told you guys that he came through me, so that I should get the credit for sending him.
Oh, that has to be Jeff.
It is Jeff. Yep.
He got. I was looking at his emails, and I could just feel the energy that he radiates, because I was like, I think he tagged us. He made a Twitter comment, and then he shot me an email, and I was like, this guy's incredible. We're excited to have him on board. And yeah. So that's great, and yeah, thank you, Seth. And he did mention that he came in through you, so maybe we will start just writing you checks every month. I don't know.
There we go. You know what? I'll be your best salesperson. I'll get every ProAdvisor in the ProAdvisor community on board with Jetpack Workflow.
Can I get on that monthly check rating roster too?
Yeah, right. Right. We might not be in business much longer. Well, if everybody's doing affiliates, then we're all good. Yeah, we should.
Yep, that's the idea.
That'd be a nice Christmas card, although a little misleading if a Christmas card looked like a check, but that's kind of a good card idea.
I would
That
like
is
to
a good
get those
idea.
Christmas cards.
Yeah.
A real check, right?
Well, you know, this is going into the marketing land, but there was so many famous direct mail marketing that was sent out, and what they would do is they would buy like a $1 million bill, and they would kind of have it like hanging, or it'd be a clear mailing that they would send out, and you know, then the letter would go into, listen, I know it's not a real, you know, $1 million bill, but I wanted to get your attention because what I'm about to tell you is really important, and it goes, you know, da 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 da. You know, on and on and on. So, but I don't know if we would use that, but I'm not sure if we would send out real money either. Maybe we'll do bitcoins because nobody really knows the real value of those. So we'll send out, you know, bitcoins.
There you go.
Oh, David, actually, I just got a good question from somebody who's watching. Suchi actually is watching, and she says she wants to know if we can add more than one employee to a single task. Is that possible?
So I'll go ahead and open up the task list right now. You can add more than one employee to a job, but in terms of owning the task, oops, let me just scroll down. Looks like the Google Drive is not syncing well with my computer right now. There we go. So I can change the manager. I can change it to Jim. I can do that, but I cannot assign multiple people to a single task. So I can go in and add a task and then put them as, you know, task number 2 for review or whatever it may be. Although there is a review status called review. But to answer your question, I guess, no, you cannot attach multiple team members to a task, but you can certainly, you know, change who owns any task inside of a specific job.
So, and meanwhile, I guess the other answer might be that if I'm looking to assign 2 people to a single task, there's probably 2 different pieces of that task that they're each going to be responsible for. So break the task up into the 2 separate pieces they're each going to be responsible for, and then assign it accordingly. Now, which brings up another question. Can I create dependencies and say, in order for this task to be done, this other one has to be done first? And based on that, create the workflow so that I can get on Tim's case and say, Tim, you have to finish your task so that Larry can do his part, and you're behind schedule on yours, so I need you to get on it.
Seth, it's a perfect question of the day. I think you peeked into our product roadmap. We don't have... I might as well just tell you what we're working on, and I think I'll answer all the questions. Is task dependencies is coming up, the calendar filtering is coming up, the reporting on the timesheets as well, and then I might as well. What was the other one I was going to? Oh, and then this is the next big one is we're going in and setting up the import client fields to include like 8 or 10, and you can customize all of the import client fields that you want. So I'll kind of jump the gun there. You guys seem to be, you know, extremely tech savvy, but yeah, dependencies. Boy, we heard that a lot, and you know that's, you know, these are all things. Everything I'm talking about is not kind of like, oh, it's in the clouds and we're thinking about doing this. No, it's on the roadmap for this year, so it will get done this year.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's how they say it. That's how we say it in New York. We say awesome.
And
yeah.
David,
in California, we say awesome.
Are you in New York, David?
He's in
No,
Pittsburgh. You missed that
Oh,
part.
Pittsburgh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys had a 1 game and out. Sorry about that. Okay.
Oh, Gina left. I guess Gina's your neighbor. She's in Pennsylvania there.
Yeah, there we go. We're in Pittsburgh, so we have the Yinzer accent. If anybody's familiar with that one.
No.
Oh, really? Oh, so we have our own accent. It's a mixture of like New York and you know, Alabama. It's really so I don't know how we got it, but yeah, if you Yinzer, and so we have our own slang and dialect. It's kind of bizarre, but yeah, so we're not quite New York. So we have our own little they call it like, you know, Yinzer is what we speak.
Cool. I like that. All right. Anybody else got any questions? We're into overtime here, so it's time to cut loose. But if you have any questions, speak now or forever hold your jetpack.
Yeah, and if you have questions afterwards, you can always email me, David at jetpackworkflow.com. If you want to give it a free trial, obviously I'm not in the system now. It went to search for it, but you know, if you want to sign up, you know, try a free trial. You know, you can email me or you can just go straight through the website. If anybody wants, I can go ahead and just paste the plans, pricing into the chat box as soon as I bring it up. Yeah, any questions come up, just email me directly.
I sent you an email 5-10 minutes ago. So.
Okay, and David, I'm going to obviously actually I already posted the link to today's Hangout in the Facebook Yabba group, so feel free to post your contact information in there should somebody want to reach out to you.
Perfect, sounds good. All right, I'll go ahead and we'll go back into the screen. I'll hit stop. You might have seen this matrix-like thing. Okay, there we go. All right. Very good.
Cool. Thank you so much, David. Now we have a new video on YouTube for you with the new interface.
And next time I'll let you know what the books are. Unless
we ran out of time on that.
Unless you have 5 minutes now, I can go through the top 5.
All right, give us the top 5 real quick. We'll go into overtime.
All right, great. So I gotta mention Switch. If anybody hasn't, Switch is an amazing book. A couple of years old, but fantastic. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is a big one on there. I read that a lot. I'm a big Dan Kennedy fan, so there's a bunch of Dan Kennedy books. They're all business and marketing. Obviously, that's kind of the world I live in. This is a really nice one if you want a quick read, and we'll kind of sign off on here, I suppose. But the 37 Signals guys rework. You know what's nice. Okay. What's nice about this book is you can just kind of flip through and browse. It's a really easy read, and you can go through it and pick up 2 or 3 pages as well. So.
All right, what's that one called again? That one I'm actually going to add to my list.
Rework.
Rework. All right.
Rework.
It's got that red color you like, Seth.
All right, so that's what we have to add. Somehow we have to add.
It's the angry rework.
We have to add people's reading lists. I want to know what people are reading. That's what I'm always looking for new material to read.
You know what's really great, and I didn't even think of this for just because when we do a lot of interviews, and even outside of the accounting industry, we get this all the time. It's just a resistance to selling and to talking with clients, but a really great one, not only on the mechanics of selling, but just the mindset of it. And kind of turning it from this uncomfortable job into something that is pretty enjoyable. Zero Resistance Selling.
Okay.
It's a pretty interesting book. So, anyways, maybe I'll post those up there as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that learning about what other people are reading could be probably one of the most interesting things we could have going on, in that group, because it's so valuable. I mean, all of us who have had any success in business, I think a lot of it, at least in my own case, I can certainly attribute it to a lot of the stuff that I've read, and that's how we learn. So
yeah, well, and we interview a lot of authors. There are more books in the space, of the accounting space, but E.D. Osborne was on. Jason Blummer is we're releasing his episode too. He has a couple books coming out. That's on the podcast we just launched. That's free. We don't dive into the software at all. It's just completely separate from what we do. I'll paste that in there if people want to listen to the show, I guess. So. Yeah,
definitely. Paste it in the Abo group. It looks like everybody else has jumped off, so
okay.
we should probably stop. But thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it, and we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks.
All right, see ya.